The time she has a come. Welcome back to my channel, and if you've never been here before, that's okay. The angling has changed a bit. Also, I did a terrible job making my bed, and my pillows are sad, and that's okay. You know why? Because imperfection is part of the theme. It was part of the theme of today. Also, so is bad lighting. So I sure hope this video takes off when I use Jimmy Snow's name for clicks and money. I have made pages on pages of notes. I have a lot of things to say, so I feel like we should just get into it. I'm not going to go into any sort of extensive backstory on this. If you are not privy to the situation at hand, there's a title card somewhere, unless I forgot it, in which case, you know, it's titled very similar to this one. Go find it. A little work never hurt anybody, okay? That's better. Is it? I don't know. Today we're gonna look at Jimmy's video titled I Messed Up, and we're gonna sort of go through it. We're gonna go through it a little bit less thoroughly than we went through the last one, because I would rather point to the things that I find relevant to the points that I had made and the issues that I had had with Jimmy's last video, rather than dissecting every little element of it. I'm sure there are things in this video that I will miss. I'm sure there are things in this video that other people have thoughts and comments about, and let's have some more of that good discourse like we did the last time. Let's watch some of it. First of all, this video is 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 50 seconds long, which is a really, really long time. And I will say right off the bat that it's really hard to pinpoint what he took accountability for, considering it's so long, it's not chaptered, it's hard to sort of follow in certain regards. Not the points aren't hard to follow. It does make it hard to, I really had to sit and take like extensive notes to make sure that I was covering everything I felt was relevant to last time. This has been way too long of an intro for a video that is so long. So let's just get the fuck into it.
Hey everyone, so here it is, the video where I'm going to respond to a lot of the things being said about me right now. Let me preface this by saying I think I messed up a lot by doing everything improvised last time. So this time I wrote out my feelings. They are my own, but yeah, I'm going to be using my teleprompter to make sure I don't go off on tangents or prove once again that, to be honest, turns out I can be a moron. Regarding the criticisms I've received, some of the things I actually do agree with. Took me a while to get there, but yeah, I'm there. I believe there are things I did wrong, but there are also narratives about me being pushed out there that aren't just wrong, they are really, really hurtful.
First of all, I'm not even going to call this is not an apology video. Just like right off the bat, I'd like to point out this is not in any way an apology video. He does apologize a couple times for a couple things in this video, but this is a non-apology video. Just FYI. If you are expecting this to be like a Laura Lee level apology video, not today.
Really wanting me to admit to times I was wrong, you're going to get to see some of that. But I also want you to be open to the idea that you might have been wrong about some things too, as you watch. As everything goes, there is always context and nuance that you can't know, and I hope that you'll hear me out.
I can appreciate that. There is nuance. There's nuance to damn near everything. What I can't appreciate is that Jimmy is pointing out to the audience in question that there is nuance to these situations. And this is just like the preface, you know, that there's nuance to all these situations, but that you couldn't possibly know, as he just said. Then why are you getting so goddamn mad when people speculate? That's my first question.
The first thing I want to share is going to be very vulnerable, and I know that there are going to be some video responses, I'm sure, made to me that are saying I'm being manipulative.
You're being manipulative. I'm just kidding.
It is what feels like the most absolutely pressing thing to start with, what's going on in my life. So I need to start right here with an admission.
I am not as strong a person as I thought I was.
I'm sorry. I believe him. I believe that this is not a manipulation tactic, but the way those sentences just lined up, Like, I'm going to tell you the most vulnerable thing, that's the most pressing thing. I'm not being manipulative, welled up to say, I'm not as strong as I thought I was. Like, that looks like manipulation on the outside. I have a lot of disparaging things to say about this video. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I believe him when he says that. I have no reason as a non-viewer of his channel to not take him at his word, except for all of the things I've heard about him.
And that, it turns out, is not the case. While I have tried to put on a mostly strong face, this has been the darkest time in my life in years. I have retreated into behaviors that are harmful, and I am desperate to get back to some level of normalcy and to be able to focus on the things that matter the most to me.
Again, I don't think this is purposeful, and I could be wrong. Maybe it is. This is manipulation. Even if it's not purposeful, it's still on some level manipulative, because making a video called "I messed up" implies that you're about to tell us how you messed up. What it technically implies that you're sorry because you messed up. And to open this conversation by saying, I'm not doing well, this has been the darkest time of my life. Not that I don't empathize, I'm sorry that that's what he's going through, but to open with that in a video where he's supposed to be taking some level of, maybe not accountability, but certainly having at least a level of realization that perhaps he was incorrect about a bunch of things. With your ears open to expect that kind of content, to then be met with, I'm having a hard time, leads me to believe that opening this video looking for sympathy is the tactic. Again, I don't think that's purposeful, but it does, I could see where it does read as a form of manipulation.
Constant negativity, anger, but yes, in some cases, and even many cases, just people expressing that the nicest form would be like, I'm not who they thought I was.
Yeah, that was the consensus in my comments on my video, was people were very disappointed that Jimmy was somebody that helped guide them out of a very dark time, a dark place, typically to do with religion, and that he showed himself to be someone that they did not expect, and they were disappointed and hurt. And honestly, I sincerely empathize with so many of them, because a lot of them were really crushed that this person that they felt very connected to and that they felt was genuine and somebody that they could not only trust, but that has helped guide them through a dark time and give them hope that there's something better on the other side, has turned out to be somebody that they really didn't expect.
And that, turns out, hurts a lot to hear. So to the point that I've considered quitting a few times, but I don't actually know what else I would do at this point.
Well, at least you got a backup plan, because YouTube is a forever thing for sure. Just a PSA. This goes for me too. If YouTube is like your side hustle or your job, if you're making money doing YouTube, or like you have aspirations to make money doing YouTube, please make sure you have a backup plan. Because it could all fall to shit like tomorrow. Like YouTube could go under and like go away altogether, and like then you have nothing. So like maybe learn a trade or something, you know?
I need to be done with this for a while, and I'm really hoping by covering enough I can be. It honestly doesn't feel like hyperbole right now to tell you that this is killing me, because the dark places I've gone, very, very dark places. All I honestly want is to help people and make people's lives better, and I've been failing to do that lately. But also lately, people have come for every aspect of my life except for my dog. And now that I've mentioned it, Dexter might be next.
Coming for you, Dexter. That was a joke. They're not all winners. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Jimmy then goes on to sort of outline what the video is going to be about. There are a few relevant points that I didn't really like overanalyze too much. A few of them being the change in his content and how people wanted him to address that. For me, that's not a relevant that's not a relevant topic. That was just a consistent gripe that he's just addressing now because he's addressing other things. People feeling like Jimmy was trying to guilt them into watching the new iteration of whatever the hell it is he does on the internet. Being called a narcissist who manipulated his therapist. But I do wonder if that was the first or the second time that he talked to Gabbie this year.
That's what narcissistic abuse is.
I think if you looked up narcissist in the dictionary, it would just be like a hole that's been overused so much that it just burned a hole in the fucking dictionary. I say these are irrelevant not because he shouldn't address it, like these things, if he feels like he should, or if his audience feels like he should. I don't think those things are more prevalent to this situation. I think there are more prevalent things to this situation than those things. I don't think those are related, and I think that maybe those could have been addressed in a different video, so maybe this video didn't literally eat up like 4 hours of my day, you know?
All right, so let me start here. I absolutely think I did things wrong, but
Stop. I absolutely think I did things wrong, but stop. Null and void. When you add but or however, whatever conjunction or connector you choose to add in that sentence makes whatever you are about to say null and void. It's like starting a conversation with, I'm not racist, but I just like to use the N-word a lot. You know, you're still being racist. Even though he's not about to apologize, the thing is like the authenticity of what you're about to say is completely voided with one conjunction, just like that. Believe me, I understand Jimmy wants to defend himself on certain things where he feels like his character is being attacked, and I get that, and that's totally valid and fine, and you're welcome to defend yourself because it's your character, it's your life, it's your job, whatever you think is important that people know about you, defend yourself. But don't do it while you're acknowledging the bad things you've done, because that takes away from acknowledging the bad things you've done. You know what I'm saying? If you're adding these conjunctions in an admission of guilt, then I now have a significant disinterest in any sort of justification for these actions, or excuse for these actions, or reasoning behind these actions. The reasoning doesn't matter. The fact that you can own up to the fact that you did things matters. And the ways in which you are going to change moving forward matters. I know this feels nitpicky. I hear it. I hear ya. I really do. But I'm very nitpicky when it comes to apologies and explanations because I think words matter here. Words don't always matter. Sometimes words are just words. But I think when you are really trying to make right or make good on a situation, your verbiage matters. And especially with how he follows it up with.
But I'm also resentful of a lot of conspiracies and jumps to conclusions that people have come up with.
I'm also resentful. So now not only what you're saying is, I'm admitting this, but what you're saying is, I fucked up, but let me tell you why I'm mad at you because I fucked up. But that's what your resentment says to me, the viewer. Also, total side note, one of the mid-rolls I got on this video was for the Book of Mormon, not the musical.
I was motivated to try and protect my business, but this time is not that. This time, I am motivated by the fact that many people have adopted in their mind a character of me that isn't me.
Because people like Angelica Oles, every time somebody likes me, tries to make them think I'm a fucking monster.
Interesting.
And some of that is my fault, but some of it is also not. Some of it has come from creators who are motivated by the views they get when talking about me and by telling people how to feel about me.
Really?
But some of it's also been because I've sort of been a dick.
Really? 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 I really like the way he kind of looked around, like just to like keep it our little secret that he's been a dick.
The knowledge that I have worked so hard to be a better person and be an activist and be an advocate and to have all of it washed away over something that felt like a totally personal matter. To put lightly, I'm not doing okay right now.
I want to preface like everything I'm about to say in this video with the fact that I do admire Jimmy's ability to say that he's not doing well and to be vulnerable about it. And I'm going to take him at face value because I don't regularly watch his content. I know there's a lot going on in the Jimmy Snow department here. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt because I don't have a reason not to. And I know some of you are like,
Say, Jack, what the fuck?
why are you giving him the benefit of the doubt? Well, because I just am. Back off, okay? I am going to take it at face value and simply assume that he is not being completely heinously manipulative.
All right, let's get into the weeds. I know this was a long intro. Last thing I'll say is please watch the whole video. Please, especially if you feel a certain way because of some other video you watch covering it or something, please actually hear my own words.
How dumb and easily manipulated do you really think your audience is? Seems like an intellectual, like, feminist with seemingly fairly progressive views on things should probably think a little bit higher of the viewers that come to watch your videos than to assume that they don't have the critical thinking skills to watch a video by someone else about a creator and not magically take on every thought that that drama channel has. Like, maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. Also, I watched your whole video last time, like 4 times. Okay, just like FYI.
I'm going to mention this first because I know it's probably going to come up anyway. Yeah, I'm going to leave this video monetized, mostly because right now I think I have to. It might seem scummy, but I hope that you're going to understand that this, I don't have a better word than drama, but this incident has hurt my business in a significant way, and I absolutely can't turn down much of anything right now that could make sure I could cover my business costs.
My income has been cut to 1/3.
I honestly don't have a problem with him keeping this video monetized, but I just couldn't resist that comparison.
I want to say directly to Rachel and Rachel only right now, I'm sorry I made that video. I really feel like I needed to do something, but I should have at least tried to reach out and ask if we could talk privately.
I'd like to take a moment to speak to Jesse directly. I'm doing this publicly because you have me blocked, and I don't think that it's appropriate for me to reach out to you privately given that circumstance.
Okay.
So the number one reason I turned off comments was this, and many of you still won't agree with it. It isn't that I can't receive any criticism or that I want to make sure no one ever sees a negative thing. It was that the narratives being spun in the comments I felt weren't accurate.
Oh, no.
People were making claims about me that weren't true, and even if that was their honest assessment, I didn't have time to take on and correct each one. And if I'd tried, I probably would have fucked that up anyway.
Hi, Jimmy Snow. I'd like to introduce you to the internet. The internet, this is Jimmy Snow. Okay, can we carry on?
I'm very aware that when I engage with somebody who I feel like is misrepresenting me, I lose my friggin' mind. I think I got used to it from all of the arguments with religious people and telling me like I can't have morals and stuff.
To a certain degree, that makes sense to me. If someone's taking shots at your character, you should absolutely defend yourself if what is being said about you is untrue, right? However, the point that Jimmy is missing here is that if the response to your statements, sentiments, actions is widely poorly received, maybe instead of seeing how you can redirect the narrative, maybe instead of telling people to fuck off and blocking them, well, Gabbie, you take it.
If you do something and a very large group of people are upset, you might want to rethink that maybe, just maybe, you're wrong about this one.
Listen, all it really would have required is just making a blanket statement for clarification. That's just, I mean, the fact of the matter is just like clarification probably would have saved you a lot of trouble in the long run, just for next time. Silencing your critics is not going to fix your problem. Even if it's narratives being spun, it's not going to fix your problem. It's actually only going to exacerbate your problem, obviously.
But I will say, I have said for years, my biggest pet peeve is being told what my intention and feelings are by someone who has no idea. Not just somebody who doesn't know me, but somebody who's saying from, for example, a text that your tone was this. That drives me wild.
Dude, I too am a control freak. okay? But like a simple blanket statement of clarification, it would have it would have sufficed, I think. You know? Also, just FYI, like if you're also like this, you're not gonna be able to change everybody's mind or like get the truth out to everybody. So like sometimes you really like have to just kind of fucking cut your losses and deal with the fact that some people are always gonna think you're like a bitch, you know? Like I clarified on Twitter the other day that like I'm not a mean, nasty person who shits on other people for fun. I'm a snarky, sarcastic comedian who enjoys commentary and actual, like, takes actual interest in behaviors of public figures. You know, whether or not you think I'm funny, that's subjective. Whether or not you agree with my assessments of people, that's subjective. But the thing is that I was mischaracterized as someone who is a bitch and someone who is, although I don't think that word was actually used, but that was sort of the implication behind it, was that it was a bitchy and sarcastic and condescending and all of these things. But the thing is I'm those things facetiously, right? I'm not really gonna stare into your soul at all hours of the day in my real life, you know? Because that person would be really grating and boring to live with or to know or to like go to bottomless mimosa brunch with, you know? So I cut my losses. I say my piece, which I did because I want clarification that my channel is not a free-for-all for you to also shit on people all the time, because that's not what I'm here to do. So I quote tweeted that person, clarified what my channel was about. I made sure to add, please don't attack this person. That's not what this is about. I said my piece and I went. And that's that. You're never going to be able to control what other people think of you or their perception of you or their perception of your actions or the choices that you make. You're never going to be able to control that ever. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many times you turn off your comments, no matter how many you respond to, you're not going to be able to change everybody's mind. There's always going to be someone who thinks you're a piece of shit. That's life. That's the internet. Just saying.
The popular on my quote unquote side sentiment was, it seems like there was a miscommunication here and it's understandable and I hope you guys can fix this. But on the negative side, it was mostly the same kinds of things where people would leave in a huff because I had said I was friends with Gabbie. I'm not kidding. That was, for the first few hours, most popular was, you're friends with Gabbie, I'm out.
Yeah. And
then when drama channels covered my video and spun what I said, the comments all shifted to the narratives they put out there.
Time out.
Time out!
According to my assessment, I believe the only person who really had a video out by the time that Jimmy turned off the comments was Savvy Writes Books, right? So my question is, who were all these drama channels that were spinning all these narratives? If the only drama channel that had a video out by then was Savvy. Makes you think, huh? Also, shout out to Savvy for being fucking brilliant. Also, I'd really love to know what these other narratives were. Because even when later in the video Jimmy gets into sort of the nitty-gritty of the comments that he was receiving, there's no real narrative being spun at all.
And that video had less than 20% engagement before I turned off the comments.
In the beginning of this video, he says, I'm going to talk about the fact that people want me to shut up about numbers. The average viewer of a YouTube channel or videos doesn't give a fuck about what your engagement is, doesn't give a fuck about what your analytics say. I know the point that he's making is that people weren't even watching like half of the video before leaving and they were creating these false narratives. But like, here's the thing, the entire video, again, I watched it maybe 4 times. The more I watched it, the more I realized that that video was Jimmy talking in circles over and over and over again. So even if they watched half the video, they got the gist. There wasn't that much new information at the end of the video that there was at the beginning of the video, because it was all the same information.
So I'm definitely here to also talk about the things I did wrong. Turning off the comments on that is actually not one I regret, but maybe my communication about it, that I probably do.
Language. I want to talk about language here a little bit because I think this matters. Like similar to the way I was talking about apologies earlier, and I've talked about them before in previous videos, I think that this matters. He says, I don't regret turning off the comments on that video, but not, I'm paraphrasing because I scribbled this down, but not communicating well. He probably does. He probably does regret that. And earlier he had said he didn't think he was making this video to try and salvage subscribers, like he did in the last video. And I think using words like probably and I think, maybe subconsciously, maybe consciously, seems like a way to put out a statement without making it definitive. And by doing that, you can further avoid responsibility, or you can go back and say, you know what, I don't regret that. And I never said that I did. I said I probably do. You know, again, it may be subconscious, it may be conscious, I don't know. I'm not trying to put any sort of huge weight on it. It was just something that I noticed happened a few times actually throughout this video. So
I hope you'll be happy to know that, first of all, even the comments that got deleted and blocked, I read most of them. Part of why I'm not doing great.
I'm sorry, I thought you had met. Internet, this is Jimmy. Jimmy, this is internet. Also, why would we be happy to hear that? Like, what kind of sad sack shit is that to say?
Second, I have now had conversations with creators and experts that I felt could help me figure out what I did and didn't do wrong.
Who? Besides Savvy, who? That's so weird. I must have missed that email. Oh, that's just Fab. Oh, my grandma. I'm not seeing the email. Must have missed it.
I didn't just seek criticism. At a certain point, I did go, I need to find criticism, but it has to be qualified criticism, because even large groups on the internet, that, again, if they stemmed from narratives that came from other places, it just doesn't work. So I went and sought criticism from, like I said, other creators and qualified people.
I accept my criticism from talented, smart people, not abusive, toxic, exploitative bullies on YouTube.
So it's like a big trench coat. Creators and qualified people, huh? No, there's still no email. Jimmy then goes on to seemingly genuinely apologize to people he's slighted by, you know, telling them to fuck off and blocking them and all that good stuff. And then follows it up about more vague false narratives being spun. He was being painted in this bad light.
At frankly pushing my cancellation. I reminded people that if they have something they want me to read, I have an email and I have a voicemail, which I realize as I'm saying out loud now, I do read the voicemails, it transcribes them. But almost no one took that up. Only a few dozen people compared to thousands of people who are wanting to repeat talking points that I think came from the drama channels.
I think came from the drama channels. Now he just spent a large portion of the first 15 minutes of this video talking about drama channels and how they're spinning these narratives, which we've yet to hear one, but they're spinning all these narratives. We're spinning all these narratives. I feel like I can consider myself one of these people. I'm not a drama channel, I'm a commentary channel, but I think I'm lumped into this. But then he goes on to say, this is being done by drama channels, I think. Which one? You're either going to blame all of us or you're not. The language, again, is important. This also implies to me that Jimmy never actually watched any of our videos, at least not all the way through, as he insists that we do for him. And also, again, I would really love to know what these narratives that we're spinning are. Maybe it was in the email that I didn't get. Also, like, berating people for not reaching out on your like preferred line of communication, especially when you've done nothing but imply that your audience is too stupid to formulate their own thoughts without being mentally manipulated by drama channels to have thoughts, you know, of their own, especially when commentary channels added important context that you refused to or just neglected to. Yeah, it's not the best look. It doesn't look good. You should try something else.
And any message I did receive directly to me about the issue, except for I think there was like 2 that were like 50 pages long, I actually did read those.
There were 2 emails that were like 50 pages long. Okay, so you want to have an open, honest conversation. I gave you access to this email and this voicemail and only some people took me up on it. Now he wants to be smug and pissed that people didn't take him up on it, except that the people that did, 2 of them were so long-winded that he didn't even bother to read them. Okay.
I'm aware that Gabbie is one of the single most hated people on YouTube, perhaps the most hated person on YouTube, and that regardless of whether or not that hatred is justified, I know that the obsession with hating her is also real. I'm not saying that everyone who disagrees with her, dislikes her, or criticizes her is that way. I'm not saying that. In fact, I'm not even saying most of those people are that way. But it's so many people that even it being a subset, there are thousands of people right now who have such an obsessive hatred of her that a major part of their day, every day, is trying to burn down her world and anything it touches.
Oh, no, 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 Jimmy. No. No. No, 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 no.
No. No. No.
No, no.
No, 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 no.
And final reasons why I turned off the comments and went on a blocking spree. With all of that in mind, was that not only was the engagement on the video itself low, as in how much people were watching the video before leaving, to me that, sorry, I'm getting all jumbled, but to me that indicates most people weren't even trying to hear me out. I already suspected that. And then I noticed there were more views on videos spinning and changing what I said and changing my motivation than on my video itself.
Who changed what you said?
So there are entire channels who get virtually no views on any other video, except now when they're talking about me or they're talking about Gabbie and me.
Alexa, play Special by Gabbie Hanna. I'm not special. I'm really sorry to be like a petty, feisty, bitchy little drama channel that gets virtually no views except for the thousands that I get when I talk about Jimmy Snow. Boo fucking who?
Cry me a river, dickface.
So smaller channels got views on videos about people and situations that were being talked about anyway. They had opinions to share.
Oh, curses.
Alert the elders, Bob! Since Jimmy is, like, once again not providing any actual context, and I hate to use the word, but like receipts for these things, it may just be that like the context missing from the original video that we as drama channels provided made it feel like a spun narrative when you like add in the context and the receipts. But that's just my guess because Jimmy's not filling in those blanks for me.
And because I know I'm not the way they say I am, it fucking hurts, man, to see people do that and for them to not care about how they are painting you because it's getting them so many views.
I don't like to talk about numbers because I'm not here for numbers. I enjoy making content. And I just want to be very clear before I say this next thing. As of right now, my one and only Jimmy Snow video has 139,000 views. It is the best performing video on my channel. Yes. And I didn't paint shit. I literally reacted to the words he said out of his mouth. I gave my opinion on those words. Most of those opinions were me staring at the camera like, okay. And I added context where Jimmy failed to. So I have a real big problem with, and I know I'm not the only person who made a video about this, and I know that not everything about this video is pointed at me, but some of this very clearly is. And if it's not, that's a surprise to me. But I think the thing that's missing is that I don't think anyone has to paint Jimmy in a bad light in this situation, because Jimmy painted himself in a bad light. And all of these narratives that he has concerned himself about being spun seem to have hatched in his comment section, not in our comment sections. I don't have conspiracy theories going on in my comment section of that video. So I don't know, Jimbo. Jimmy goes on to talk about his social philosophy and that he wanted to clarify that he didn't mean he enjoyed befriending people he fundamentally disagrees with so that he could change them, but that he has essentially has hope for all people because they're humans. And he wants to extend the same courtesy to other people that was extended to him coming out of Mormonism. He also brings up Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Daryl Davis, and to that, I'm just gonna leave that alone. We'll go there another time. We're not gonna go there right now.
I will be your friend regardless of our disagreements, because all humans have value and deserve to be treated like humans.
I also listen to Curtis because he's a human being.
Okay.
I'm super paranoid about whether or not people only like me in as much as they can use me. And also, I am painfully aware that I'm flawed. And so yes, I have ended friendships mostly over breaches of trust.
I don't think anyone's begrudging you for being a flawed human being, dude. I really don't. I understand that this is laying down the foundation for why things went awry with Rachel Oates. I also understand that this is laying the foundation for why he's still friends with Gabbie and how he justifies that and yada yada yada. But this is so far to go to make a point for clarification, and I know he feels it's important, but I really feel like it's not. It's a little important, I guess, but it's not an hour and 18 minutes worth of video important, you know what I mean?
Basically, the word friendship or friend, it's too universal of a word. We don't accurately and satisfactorily describe levels of friendship with the word friend.
Okay, let's try acquaintance. Or are you concerned that your audience might not know what that word means because you think they're too stupid to have thoughts of their own? I don't. I feel like your audience would know the word acquaintance. Perhaps you should acquaint yourself with the word
acquaintance
and then use it.
An accusation that people are starting to make even videos about, which is that I use autism as a shield. And this is one of the things where I am fully going to reject this. It's one of the few things in here I'm fully going to reject, but I'm going to tell you why. Yes, I have 100% talked about my autism to explain why I might have said something, why I might have not understood something in its original context, but I have never once said that you have to excuse a thing that I've done to someone because I'm autistic. I will absolutely use it as an explanation, but I don't believe I have ever used it as an excuse. I even had one very critical person reach out and tell me that they're autistic and that they learned that they have to apologize to neurotypical people when they had no idea what they were saying or doing was wrong, but literally because they couldn't know, but that it's still good to do and to apologize and say, I'm sorry I did that, not anything like I'm sorry for how it made you feel. And I gotta tell you, I fucking disagree so hard with that sentiment. That is to me saying that I need to apologize and that autistic people need to apologize because we need to accept that the world belongs to neurotypicals and that we have to go out of our way just to think about them and make them comfortable.
Time out.
Time out!
I want to be very clear before I start speaking that I have no intention of being in any way ableist here. So I'm going to try to choose my words carefully so that I do not come off that way. His summation here is that autistic people have to apologize essentially for being autistic. And I think his words were good. I think he lost the point. I agree. You know, you shouldn't have to just apologize because you're autistic. You shouldn't. I agree with the words. I don't use my autism as a shield. I don't use it as an excuse. It's sometimes an explanation, but not an excuse. Absolutely. Perfect. The words are good. The point is lost though, because what Jimmy's doing here is, first of all, assuming anyone he would have to apologize to would be neurotypical. And there's no way of just knowing that someone's neurotypical. You know what I mean? It's not like a badge you wear, you know? So maybe let's not just assume that it's, you know, a neurotypical person, first of all. Second of all, I didn't use the portion of Jimmy's video, his last video, where he was talking about autism, because I didn't find what he said about his autism to be related, or relevant rather, to the point at hand. Because it wasn't, in my opinion. He might have felt that it was, and maybe it was and I overlooked it, but it wasn't something that I felt needed to be a part of the video for me to make the point that I wanted to make, and for his point to come across as well. I don't think anybody would suggest that an autistic person or any neurodivergent person would just apologize for being autistic or neurodivergent. However, I think the point is more, if you hurt somebody, apologize, because regardless of why or how or whatever, if you hurt somebody, you still hurt somebody regardless of your mental health. If your comprehension of, or awareness of what's happening is for lack of a better word, like lacking in that area, that's not again, if you hurt somebody, apologize. You know, I mean, you don't have to apologize for everything ever. You don't have to apologize when it's not warranted. No, but you do have to apologize when you hurt someone. Just because the offender doesn't know that they're offending doesn't make them free from consequence.
We have to go out of our way just to think about them and make them comfortable, which, by the way, we already do so much when we're masking. Even knowing all of that, if I know that I have made a person feel wronged, even by something that I couldn't conceive of being wrong, I will still try to fix it.
Coming from the guy who tells everybody to fuck off and then blocks them.
I don't think that many of the times I said fuck off aren't justified at all regarding like the conversation itself, but I definitely had forgotten the same thing that I asked Rachel to do, is to not forget. I forgot that there are humans on the other side. And so to anyone I hurt by treating them basically like they were a Twitter bot, that was fucked up. And I was wrong, and I am sorry.
Good words.
Therapy my whole life, and I will never be perfect, even on the last day. I mean, I know that's hard to believe because, as we've all declared, I'm the reincarnated Jesus.
Bad words.
I just needed like some kind of joke break here right now. Doesn't really feel like it landed though. It's hard to know.
It didn't.
If I'm being honest, I now think it would have been better for Gabbie to have not engaged or gone after Rachel at all. Now, I kind of already felt a little that way, but like I didn't like some of the ways that she had gone for Rachel, and I didn't like a lot of the words she had used. But I wasn't as offended by the idea that somebody went after someone they felt like brought negativity in their life. I was definitely wrong about that. I now believe that she should have just let the thing go, and a lot of that because she has a way larger platform than Rachel.
Yeah, she does. But baby, that's still not the point. Yeah, Gabbie Hanna's rabid stans came for Rachel, and they still are to this day. They're still going after her. But what Jimmy is really missing from this whole situation is that Rachel didn't bring negativity into Gabbie's life. Gabbie brought negativity into her life. Rachel reviewed her books thoroughly, and thoroughly means that it spanned a few videos because she wanted to be thorough. She also did it thoughtfully and professionally, with every beautiful, fragrant hint of constructive criticism that Gabbie Hanna demands from her critics. And she did publish a book parodying the writing style, which Gabbie Hanna says was Rachel mocking her trauma. But Gabbie should be very familiar with the fact that Rachel was parodying the writing style. After all, Adultolescence was a Shel Silverstein parody and a light, digestible read, not to be taken too seriously. Again, as a reminder, Gabbie sent Rachel the book to review. I feel like we're back at square one, missing the point by a lot. Jimmy is still hugely missing the point because he's uninformed about the content. He has had all of this time in between that last video and this video. He could have taken an hour and educated himself on what these videos are like to see why it is actually maddening that Gabbie refers to this shit as hate. So he can spout off about how obsessed we all are about Gabbie Hanna and hating her and all of this nonsense. But at least we've done the work. We've done the research. We know what we're talking about. Later in the video talks about the fact that he wasn't even aware of all of Gabbie's controversies, or most of Gabbie's controversies. So you can gripe about how we attack Gabbie for all of these things, but at the end of the day, again, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know enough about your friend to make a fair assessment of their character. If you are unaware of the way that things have gone down, if you don't even understand why your friend and your former friend had issues, like the real root of the reason, I don't know how to help you. Maybe if you watch the videos all the way through.
Of things that before I would have just called YouTube drama. I've learned a lot more about how Rachel must have felt with all of that hate coming her way, and I'm horrified that I didn't know before. No one knows. No one knows until you go through it. You don't know how you'll feel, and you certainly don't fucking know how you're gonna act.
No, no one does know until you go through it. That's true. Again, it would have taken like an hour tops, like for you to initially just go through it and see that Rachel was being wronged, and that therefore it's even probably more overwhelming. And am I crazy, or does this like imply that like Rachel's feelings with the whole like hate mob being like sicked on her weren't as important to Jimmy until he himself received like a barrage of hate or angry people? Asking for all those spun narratives.
A little bit. It's been rough, man. It's been rough. There's kind of reasons why it's been going out. I want to say to anybody that I told to fuck off, I'm sorry for doing it. I really am. This feels like there's going to be a but. It's like, I know that with a few people it felt so warranted, and it's hard to get past those few people and go like, okay, but even if it felt warranted for those, it wasn't for so many. And honestly, even the people I felt warranted for, it wasn't warranted to be public. So even the ones that I was really mad at, I am sorry, and I fucking feel bad.
I don't want to question anyone's apologies. I just... Okay. Jimmy then goes on to talk about relationships, romantic and sexual, otherwise. I've heard rumblings, frightening rumblings. He goes on to talk about fans and having sort of romantic or sexual relationships with fans, and how he, I hope I didn't misconstrue this too much, but how he feels that that's okay as long as you're acknowledging and not abusing the power imbalance between them. I don't know, man. I think like once it's okay. I don't know that like you should make a habit out of it, and that's just kind of like site-wide, you know, like maybe don't, like I don't, that's weird. Aside from it being weird because of a power imbalance, I would feel so weird knowing that the person interested in me, like there's that parasocial relationship thing, right? Like knowing that they already feel like they know me and me having no idea who they are, that's creepy. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying like if you feel that way, it's creepy. I'm just saying like in terms of turning that into a real like relationship beyond a friendship, I think that's weird. I don't think that that's right. And I don't think that there is any way to make an even keel of that power imbalance. I really don't.
Okay, now to the bigger points that have been popular accusations that were coming my way. Sorry for all the water breaks. There's a very popular one that has popped up that I, Jimmy Snow, am a rape apologist.
Deep breath, kids. Mom's about to yell.
I resent the assertion, and I am honestly contemptuous of those who say this. First of all, the word apologist does not refer to apologies, which I see a lot of people who think it does and don't even understand why they're using that phrase. Apologist refers to apologetics. That is a practice. It is the practice of defending and justifying controversial topics.
A person who offers an argument in defense of something controversial. Similar, defender, supporter. That would be a colloquialism, Sergeant Semantics.
And rape apologetics are the kinds of things that I literally dedicate so much time to on fighting on my channel. Like when I fight the transformed wife who says that marital rape is impossible, that you can't be raped by your husband. It's automatically consented to. Or when I fight implications from people like Paul and Morgan and Girl Defined who like to write off a lot about the culture and what is happening on the basis of like, well, women were wearing such and such, so, you know, we have to hold them responsible too. To be a rape apologist is to justify, to defend, or excuse rape. And that is not something I do, and I insist that people who do something like that can change. And I'm not gonna let somebody define me by mistakes that I was brainwashed and abused with in my past.
Oh.
But then I also get accused of defending or supporting a rape apologist, specifically Gabbie Hanna.
There it is.
I wanna say this first. One, being a friend's person, that's being a person's friend, that does not mean that you condone a single action of theirs. And I also think that every single person watching, every person probably in existence, has at least one friend or family member with a super shitty view.
Yeah, not inherently false. Knowing that this person is a rape apologist, admittedly, despite going back on that, and it doesn't have to be Gabbie Hanna. In the last video, I said it was Rosie O'Donnell. You know, if you replaced Gabbie Hanna with Rosie O'Donnell, the effect will be the same. Let's further our point. Let's make it Rosie Perez this time.
So I was bullied.
If you have a public platform and hypothetical Rosie Perez is like, I heard out my ex-best friend's rapist about his raping because he's a human being, and your take on that is,
so what? Everybody knows someone with a shitty view.
You're a rape apologist by proxy. Sorry. Rosie Perez might be cool as hell, and I'm sorry, Rosie Perez, for using you as this example. But like, if you're actively choosing to remain her friend, you are thereby aligning yourself with her and her public choices. That backlash is on you.
Now, I'm definitely aware that Gabbie has had some real bad takes in the past.
And in the present. Go on.
I know that there was a time she didn't believe a certain friend about being raped, and that she also expressed a sentiment about most rapes being lied about and other things.
And other things. Go on.
People who've gone through similar experiences have been severely hurt by those sentiments by Gabbie. And when it comes to the term itself, it is one I don't take lightly. And I admit I have trouble assigning it to people. Even knowing that past takes can be bad, I always want to evaluate those current takes.
Well, Jimbo, good news. The current takes are just as bad.
I don't know. I don't know what I feel on that.
How do you not know what you feel? If you align yourself with something so much that you have called yourself Mr. Atheist, that this is your thing, this platform of wanting to help change the world and be, I say progressive. I don't know what his actual public affiliation or political affiliation is. But there are progressive sentiments in the things that he's saying, right? How do you not know how you feel hearing someone speak about and to a former friend about their sexual assault in that way and not know where you stand? This couldn't be more cut and dry if you were standing in the middle of the fucking Sahara Desert with a goddamn switchblade, my dude.
I'm not going to be making public videos laying out Gabbie's sins, because there's already hundreds of those. There are literally hundreds of videos doing that, maybe thousands. And while I know people don't think she deserves the consideration, to tell you the truth, I do worry about her mental health.
You know what? I worry about Jessie Smiles' mental health, Jen Dent's mental health, Oscar Wilde's mental health, Trisha Paytas's mental health, Hello Leash, Angelica Oles, Rachel Oates, the Devins family, rape survivors. Those are the people whose mental health I'm a little bit more concerned about.
I have a hard time when people use the phrase, you're supporting or defending a rape apologist also. Because the implication there is that when you use the phrase like that, it makes it sound like I am defending the actions related to rape apologetic.
You can make this into an argument about semantics all you want. It changes nothing, because at the end of the day, as a public figure with a relatively large platform, Jimmy Snow is choosing to stand by Gabbie Hanna as a friend who has proven herself to be a textbook rape apologist.
I also listen to Curtis because he's a human being.
When you do not take a stand against that directly, and by directly I mean to Gabbie Hanna, you are condoning it. Even if by your own code of morals and ethics you say you are against it. Your complacency is complicity.
And once again, I know it was true about me years ago, and the people who changed my mind were actually mostly progressive women. If they could handle staying friends with me, then I feel like I can handle it too. And I'm going to continue doing that, believing that being friends with people with messed up views, again, there are limits. I certainly wouldn't befriend an actual rapist.
Just their support system. Got it. Got it.
So now, let's talk about the most common accusation. I picked Gabbie Hanna over Rachel because Rachel posted a critical video of Gabbie's poetry.
No, that's not it. That's still not it. How can you still be missing this so badly?
I just shouldn't have said anything to Rachel about the review, even though my intentions were absolutely pure. The only reason why I brought it up was because, believe it or not, empathy. Something that I used to think I didn't have enough of, and then learning how it works with autistic people, lately I feel like I have too much. If everything people say about Gabbie is true, she still doesn't deserve all the hatred that she receives.
Face yourself, bitch. Or has proven to me that she's actually intellectual enough to understand art.
You fucking narcissistic abuser piece of shit.
You're a fucking monster.
If you really want me to be well and you're so concerned about my mental health, why don't you shut the fuck up about me?
You're a bitch.
A misogynistic, disgusting piece of shit who acts as if he could have a chance with me anyway.
Fuck you. Fuck all of these people.
Get the fuck over it. Manipulative, narcissistic bitch. You fucking sick, twisted bitch. You're obsessed with me.
I am the fucking victim.
People disagreed, which is insane to me because she literally gets threats of murder and threats of rape.
So you know that. But you don't know anything about Rachel's approach to reviewing poetry. Okay.
But I don't think anything Rachel was making was even in the same realm of stuff like that.
Again, with the language. How about instead, I looked at the video in question, and clearly Rachel wasn't making any sort of content of that nature. There. I fixed it for you, Jimbo.
That Gabbie still deserves to be treated like a human because she is one. That does not mean do not extend consequences. It's a very nuanced topic for sure.
It's really not that nuanced. At this point, she's essentially a danger to her own audience and to other creators, and should probably be deplatformed.
I feel like I have an empathy for that, even for somebody and others who have done crappy things and said crappy things. Also, I will tell you that negativity, it creates this urgency in you. Like you need to get things out, and in some cases that you have to fight back. And again, because I've seen how this gets interpreted, I'm going to restate. I am not defending any individual action.
Then what exactly are you defending, Jimmy? Your goal isn't, as you say, to befriend people you fundamentally disagree with so that you may change them, but also you want to be the influence that you had that helped change you. Is the motivation really to stay friends with Gabbie so that you can change her? I mean, what about the people on the other end, Jimmy? What about Gabbie verbally berating both Hello Leash and Oscar Wilde and pushing them so hard to the brink of both of their sobrieties? What about Gabbie helping perpetuate a rumor that Jen Dent sexually assaulted a child? What about reducing Dom DeAngelis to his looks and trying to publicly humiliate him after making false accusations that he both degraded and dehumanized her, which both turned out to be demonstrably false? What about pushing Trisha Paytas to the absolute edge of their mental health? What about putting the weight of an entire family's grief and trauma surrounding the death of a loved one on the shoulders of Angelica Oles? What about the dozens of times that Gabbie Hanna called Rachel Oates a bitch, a monster, a narcissist, an abuser, or simply reviewing the book that Rachel was asked to review by the author? What about ripping open Jessie Smiles' trauma every 6 months when Gabbie has something to sell? So by all means, don't defend a single action by a person. But maybe it's time to take a gander at the collective actions of this person and maybe make your assessment that way. Because all of these things that you don't know about Gabbie are actually really important to her character, but I digress.
Oh, the first thing that keeps getting lost and changed from the video I did was that while I knew the whole thing was going to be a book review, the actual thing that was bothering me were these Insta and Twitter posts that to me seemed very unkind. And actually, in comments Rachel has left in other places, Rachel called them childish. But I 100% understand that the way that first message came across seemed like it was trying to change the tone of a review. I do think that I explained and cleared it up in the messages that followed. However, I know that by the time that happened, Rachel was already mad, and now I know that there were these other things going on in her life that likely made it harder for her to have that conversation with me in a productive way.
Right. Okay, so how is that us spinning a narrative again?
Like many of the people that were so angry, I think if they removed Gabbie from the equation, they would actually see easily that I was not trying to do anything malicious or shitty.
Again, I did that last time. Same result. The proof is in the rosies.
Now, as far as picking Gabbie over Rachel, that's simply just not true. My friendship with Rachel ended because I felt like she violated my trust, not once, but 3 times. Now, a lot of people like to say that the first time was my fault because I technically am who outed myself as being a part of this conversation she had put on Twitter. I disagree with that. Rachel shared details of a conversation that was totally reasonable to expect to be between us with the public.
Rachel left you anonymous as a courtesy and tried to get a feel for whether or not she was wrong in a situation, collecting data, if you will. And I think you will.
My trust had been broken in a way that's like hard for me to navigate because, yes, I'm gonna say it, I'm autistic. And when you're autistic, it's already hard enough to try and explain yourself to one person, let alone explain yourself to one person with 1,000 referees around you. Now listen, I've definitely learned since then that what Rachel was going through was intense and serious, and I now know that a lot more was going on. Had I known that at the time, I probably would have also dismissed the 3rd incident.
Okay, so you're just a bad friend. I'm sorry, and I know that's a mean thing to say, but you're just kind of like a bad friend. Had you known this stuff was going on, you would have excused X, Y, and Z. Is she not human? Is she not allowed to make mistakes? I mean, why are we not holding Gabbie to the same standards as Rachel? You say that Rachel violated your trust by bringing a conversation to Twitter publicly that you would have preferred to have kept private, or you assumed is something that should have been kept private, which is all well and good. I've got no issue with that. However, Gabbie hopped on Instagram Live to her 3 million followers and spun a new narrative, actually, about how your conversation went down, or rather the conversation you didn't have.
So we have a mutual friend who messaged her outside of me. I literally did not talk to him at all. He saw that she was doing, and he messaged her and he said, have some compassion. You've been the center of hate campaigns online. Leave this girl alone. Like, you're just bullying. And then she started a Twitter campaign trying to say that I manipulated her friend into defending me.
She completely misrepresented what you said that you said to Gabbie. You didn't correct Gabbie. You didn't call Gabbie out. There was nothing there. Why are we not holding Gabbie and Rachel to the same standard? Why must Rachel meet this excess standard, but Gabbie can skate by and do worse things, commit a worse misrepresentation of you to more people?
As far as picking between them, I have never felt like I've had to pick between the two, and neither of them have either asked me to.
And here's another one where I just sincerely hope I'm not being insensitive. You can let me know in the comments if I am. I really don't want to be. I'm just trying to tread lightly with the way that I speak because I'm not very well versed in autism. So if this is part of autism or how that presents, then I do apologize in advance, and please feel free to bitch me out nicely with the comments. You don't have to fully educate me. You can just let me know. The way that Jimmy relies on semantics, the way Gabbie also relies on semantics, as if they make any sort of difference, is very frustrating. No one is implying that Gabbie and Rachel said, Jimmy, choose between us. you know, it's not like a 6th grade wet dream. The semantics of choosing between them, whether they asked you to or not, whether you had to choose or not, whether you did choose or not, is really not the issue. It's not a Sophie's Choice moment.
It's worth noting, though, that it probably wouldn't have changed much, but when we were having those conversations, I was mostly unaware of Gabbie's history. When we met, I honestly thought her biggest crimes were like these edgy TikToks.
How does that timeline add up? Because she didn't start making edgy TikToks until, what, early this year? I mean, I could be wrong, but I usually am not.
To give people the benefit of the doubt. And she showed a lot of interest in my story and also was excited to share stories of her own with someone that she felt could understand.
Just like she wanted her poetry book in the hands of someone who loved and appreciated poetry. Jimmy, honey, she would discard you in 2 seconds. I just think you should know that.
We are friendly and we are kind to each other, but we don't talk very often at all. And I feel like that's been lost too in calling her my friend. Like this year, we've only spoken a couple of times for the entire year. And then a handful of times before make up our entire friendship before that. But I just personally do not believe in guilt by association.
Well, Jimmy, that sounds like a real nice way to live. Guilt by association is kind of a thing. Whether you believe in it or not, it's a thing. Just because you're not taking ownership of that guilt doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Furthermore, your complacency in this issue tells your audience, I say I don't stand for this, but my actions prove otherwise. Sorry, Chief. The actions and words have to match, otherwise you're lying somewhere.
Believe it or not, I absolutely have no problem telling Gabbie things that I don't like or agree with. But again, we don't talk that often, so we're not covering that much stuff.
Right, so like, why are we going to bat for her so hard? Just wondering.
I don't also think so much of myself or so little of her humanity that I think she doesn't deserve me as just a kind and positive person in her life.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? I don't speak white knight.
Many people have very strong feelings about Gabbie. I know that there are people who still feel upset with some of her actions and certainly feel upset about her extremely toxic public relationship with Jesse Smiles. And I want to say to you who feel that way, I assure you, I am not asking you to like her.
I'm only asking you to have great empathy for her as a human being because she's a human being and we're human beings. Even though she is a human being who doesn't have a shred of empathy for anybody else.
Running off all of this, that I have been silencing sexual assault survivors. And the implication when someone says that and say, like, tags you in a post with other women that you work with while completely making bad faith arguments is that you're trying to shut up women who have been assaulted because they had been assaulted.
That doesn't make any sense. How is that the implication? How is the implication that you're silencing sexual assault survivors because they're sexual assault survivors? The implication is that there is no implication, actually. The thing is, you shut off your comments, which silences everybody. And a large portion of your audience that had a problem with you silencing your audience is that what they want to call to your attention is that Gabbie Hanna is a rape apologist and she represents everything that makes a sexual assault survivor keep it to themselves and never say anything and live with that internalized for the rest of their lives because of people like Gabbie Hanna who don't believe survivors, who try to discredit survivors, who use their trauma against them for years. And when these people can't say that to you without you throwing a fucking bitch fit and shutting off your comments, you are silencing all of your viewers, but importantly, sexual assault survivors.
That could be driven with any group, honestly. You could do this with anyone. Anyone who tried to push the conversation when I wasn't ready.
Jimmy, honey, when you hit the button that says publish, public, on your video, you were ready, okay? You may have been caught off guard by the response to your video. You might have been overwhelmed, but then again, that's where communication comes in. To make a community post, to even put out a short video that says, hey, I hear ya, I'm taking in your feedback, I'm reflecting. When I cool off, when I get my thoughts together and I feel like I have something to contribute to the conversation, I will be here. Let's have the conversation. Maybe that would have given folks a little bit more patience with you while you are complaining about how you weren't ready.
But I do understand that if you have concerns about my associations, that could be coming from a place that is genuine, that is from your experience, and that it might hurt extra if you are then blocked. And I will tell you, I'm a victim of sexual assault myself. I've mentioned it on my channel. I don't like to go a lot into detail about it. But anybody who's seen my channel knows that I take sexual assault super seriously.
I'm super!
I wrote you a song, Jimmy. It's called You Can Be a Sexual Assault Survivor and Still Silence Victims of Sexual Assault. Those things are not mutually exclusive. It's just a working title. Finding out that Jimmy is a sexual assault survivor makes this worse, not better. It makes it more maddening. I sincerely suggest that this guy starts researching his friends that have public platforms so that he knows who he is aligning himself with. Because when you align yourself with Joe Blow Nobody, who is one of those people in your life that just happens to have that shitty view, that's one thing. But you're aligning yourself with someone who is publicly terrible. And I know I'm one of those channels that harps on Gabbie Hanna, and I get that. I really do. I understand how that looks, and I understand how that feels to watch, and it seems very polarizing, and it seems very pointed and targeted. But the thing is that her behavior has an effect on everybody here on the internet that is part of this sphere of the internet. Sphere, the right word I wanted to use? I don't know, I'm going with it. It's literally 3 o'clock in the morning. And just to level the playing field, I too am a sexual assault survivor. Honestly, most of us are these days, because this is a disgusting world. As a sexual assault survivor, the fact that you know what happened between Gabbie and Jesse, and if you haven't watched Jesse's video, Jimmy, I suggest that you do. The fact that you know that there is a tumultuous relationship there that involves Gabbie using Jesse's trauma as a weapon against her, and you still can't figure out where you stand on Gabbie Hanna, or if nothing else, that you feel like you're comfortable standing by her. And it leads me to the next song that I wrote for you. You can be a rape apologist and also a sexual assault survivor. Those things are not mutually exclusive. That one's not even a working title. That one's sealed in.
Right now it feels like my platform is trying to be pried away from me because of some things people have put in a negative column while completely ignoring a positive column. And if I'm being honest, it has hurt a lot.
Jimmy spends the next 8 to 10 minutes giving fairly decent apologies and explanations for a bunch of things that I don't care about. Not because I'm a bitch, but because I'm not invested in his channel.
Yep.
Still watch the video all the way through though. 3 times now. Jimothy.
It also hurts when you come up with ridiculous scenarios like asserting that I'm a narcissist who's manipulated my therapist into believing I'm changing. And the worst part is I don't know how to disprove that.
Why do you need to disprove that to your audience? Who gives a shit? You're not going to be able to fix everyone's perception of the truth or your truth or how a story went or whatever narrative has been spun. You're never, ever, ever going to have everybody on your side. You're never, ever, ever going to be able to convince everybody that what is the truth for you is the truth. They're going to wear you down. Let it go. Stop reading comments after like a day. I mean, seriously, I have seen thicker skin on a bowl of pudding.
But here's what I'll say now about this idea that I was a hypocrite for the drama stuff. I kind of worry that you're right. I worry that for at least the last year or so of my content, that I've actually been participating in methods of criticism that go against what I believe. And so I'm working on that in therapy too, and I'm trying to be more mindful. I don't think it is actually about who you cover, but I do think it is about how you cover them or what you cover.
Okay. I'd love to hear your code of ethics on reporting on public figures. Don't tell me how to do my job. YouTube is a platform on which you can upload your content and consume content for free. But when you upload content and you publish it as public, you are sharing it with strangers, billions of them. Sharing this content with humans who consume content that they're interested in by creators that they're interested in. And when you hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, your YouTube channel is eligible for monetization, so you can make money off of the views that you get via Google AdSense, who pays you a percentage based on your views, click-through, engagement, increase in subscribers, etc. Regardless of whose name is in the title or thumbnail of my video, all my videos are made with very sarcastic love and passion for clicks and views. I said in the beginning, I sincerely hope Jimmy's doing okay. I hope he's taking care of himself. It sounds like he is. He sounds like he's in therapy. He's at least doing what he needs to do in that respect. I have no ill will towards Jimmy. And that said, titling a video I messed up and then listing all the ways people hurt you kind of feels like I was gonna say dichotomy, but yeah, that too. All in all, this video was fine. I feel like Jimmy really truly owned up to all of the things nobody really cared about. I don't know. At the end of the day, he stands by Gabbie, and Gabbie would discard him in 2 seconds if she even remembers his name. He still treated Rachel badly, never watched her content before preemptively criticizing the way she does her work. Still hasn't watched her content to see maybe where he was incorrect or that he was incorrect, you know, just in case we, the drama channels, were spinning them narratives, you know. And he would take back what happened based solely on the fact that he didn't know Rachel was in a really rough relationship at the time. Why would you even say that out loud? Also, Jimmy's language throughout this whole video was very accusatory. People were accusing me of doing this. I was accused of being this. And having opinions and expressing them or expressing some sort of speculation is not accusatory. That's not accusatory language. I am exhausted by this whole thing. Tell me your thoughts. I'd love to know. Whoa! She lost her voice in the last 5 seconds. Thank you so much for watching. I can no longer speak. But if you like this video, please feel free to give it a like. If you didn't like this video, kick rocks. Subscribe. I make new videos. I cannot even talk at all anymore. Subscribe. I make new videos whenever I feel like it. Do a live here every Friday where we just kind of shoot the shit and have a good time. So please join us there. It's usually at 7 or 8 Central Standard Time. My social media is linked down below. All I ask is that you don't be an asshole. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to bed now because it's 3:08 a.m.